Hello, this is Raging Worlds, and today we're going to be talking about Blue Protocol again. Obviously, because of Star Resonance releasing and being out for a while. At its core, it is a decent game, but there are problems, or really, when it comes to this video, there is one problem that honestly I really think needs to be fixed as soon as possible. It's not necessarily a bug or a glitch, but this is a problem in which is most likely going to be the reason why people are going to quit this game even if they don't realize it. And that would be the chat system. Now, what exactly is wrong with the chat system? Am I talking about how, you can't say certain things? Well, not really, but that is an issue that needs to be fixed, but that's not what I'm talking about. The real problem is that with the way the social features are in this game, it discourages you from role-playing with other people in this game. It also discourages you from wanting to communicate and make connections with other people. While that might not sound like a big issue on the surface, let me explain to you why it really is when it comes to a game like this. When you look at Star Resonance trailers, there are two big things that are being advertised. Number one, the content and gameplay, and number two, the social features. And you might make the argument that it wants you to do the social features more than it wants you to do the content of this game, because when you look at the trailers, that is what's mostly being advertised. Many of the complaints of the trailers were that it was mostly just showing the social features of the game rather than advertising the content. But what they're doing was most likely intentional, because when you think about it, I think the way they wanted this game to be was that after you're done with your content and grinding, you just go back to your friends that you made through this game or the connections that you made through this game, and you hang out with them. And maybe you'll go to Dance Novice or Street Theater, find some new people to have conversations with and to, make new friends with and have fun with them. On paper, this is a good idea, an excellent idea if executed properly. But the issue is that I don't think it was as executed as properly as it should have been. And because of that, this game, or at least half of this game, might as well be turned off, because once again, the other half of this game is the social features. So if you're getting the other half of the game wrong, then that isn't really good for the game, is it? Listen, to fix this issue is going to be the most easiest fucking thing ever. Number one, make the current chat the default chat. Number two, make the chat bubbles bigger and more visible. Number three, make them last long enough to read. And that's all that has to be done to make the chat that much better. Infinitely better, in fact. So yeah, the solution to the problem is actually pretty easy and pretty simple, but the explanation to it is what's long. Let me explain to you some things. The default chat right now is the world chat, and the current chat is for your own line and room. So if you want to say something to someone in line 49, well, you would go to current chat if you're in line 49, and you would only be able to speak to people who are in that line. And this pretty much goes for, any line that you're in. So let's say that you want to compliment someone's character because they look cute or cool or something. And when you say something to them, chances are they most likely aren't going to see it, because the default chat is the world chat. So that is the chat they are mostly going to be seeing. And while they can check the current chat, there's no reason for them to assume that anything is being said to them in the current chat in that moment. But the thing is that there are chat bubbles that appear on top of your character that could get their attention, but the issue to that is, well, they don't really last long enough to read, nor are they even visible enough. You can be distracted for a few seconds, and that would be all it would take to miss it. So if the person you're trying to compliment doesn't even see your message because they're in the default chat, nor is your chat bubble visible enough to see, and it doesn't even last long enough to read, then how is that going to encourage you to make connections with people? How is that going to encourage you to role play with people and chat with people? And because it's like this, when it comes to their community events like Street Theater or Dance Novice, what's going to happen is people just set their dance emote and then they go AFK for resources and rewards. So it's like the way their community events are meant to be intended, it's not happening. It's pretty much a feature that might as well be turned off because you're meant to socialize during those events. You're meant to have fun with people. You're meant to have conversations with people. You're meant to make each other laugh. You're meant to role play with each other.
You have a pretty nice ass. How's this?
想像上のカマキリだと
But there's not really much role playing going on unless you want to count just going AFK and, putting your dance emote on if you want to count that. But you know the point that I'm making. And some of you may wonder, well, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand the points you're making. I understand that with the way the chat system is, it kind of discourages roleplay and all that stuff. But is this really needed that much in a game like this? Are you sure you're not just over exaggerating how big of an issue this really is? I'm just going to say this. Assuming you came into this game with no friends at all, you just got done with all your grinds for the day, you felt like you just don't feel like doing much anymore and you've done all you want to do for that day, then because of the way this chat system is and because of the way it discourages you from role playing and making connections, then you're going to realize that you're not going to really have any friends or connections to fall back on. You're not going to have anyone that you might have felt like communicating with, having fun with, or entertaining conversations with. And because of this, you're going to realize that since you have no one to fall back on, then you are probably just going to log out for that day, and this could eventually lead to you just stopping the game entirely and not playing it anymore. So that is the reason why this is important, because you were meant to, actually go back to something after you were done with your grinds in this game, which would be their connections. But if that is being mishandled, then the rest is going to follow suit with everything crashing down. And that is the real big reason for why this needs to be solved and fixed. You can't have one half without the other. Now, this is where our solution from earlier comes in. If the current chat were the default chat, and if the chat bubbles that appear on top of your character were more visible and much bigger and lasted long enough to read, then these issues would be magically fixed. It would cause a butterfly effect where suddenly a switch is turned on where everybody starts chatting with each other in current chat, because now it is much easier to see these messages and chat bubbles on top of your character. That's going to encourage roleplay. That's going to encourage people to actually chat with each other. And of course it is, because the default chat being the current chat is going to put more focus on that chat. So that's pretty much going to say like, hey, we're encouraging you to roleplay and we're encouraging you to socialize with these people. So if you see someone say some entertaining thing and you see that in the chat box, then you might want to actually join in on the fun, whether it's your business or not. And if you happen to miss that chat bubble somehow, you will be able to see it in the chat box, and chances are you most likely are going to see it, since the current chat is actually the default chat now, and you're not really going to be in the world chat unless you actually are looking for a monster to hunt or something like that. And now that the chat bubbles actually last long enough to read and they're actually more visible and much easier to see, then of course because of that, people are going to start seeing it more and actually respond to you. And this pretty much applies everywhere else. All of those community events like Dance Novice and Street Theater are actually going to work as intended, because you're meant to socialize there, and it would actually work the way it's supposed to be. So that's how those simple changes could literally fix everything that's wrong with the social aspect of this game. And it's basically, like I said before, it's like you're turning it on. It's like you're turning the light switch on and everything actually starts working. And because of that, you're actually going to have friends and connections to fall back on. even if you weren't really planning on doing anything else and you were just planning on, you know, chilling and hanging out, maybe that friend has an idea of what you guys can do together. Maybe you can take pictures, or maybe they want to do some grinds and maybe you feel like helping them. And so that extends the player time. Do you see what I'm saying here? So I don't want to hear some bullshit about like, well, oh, you can have this in VR chat. It doesn't need to be some sort of chat simulator.
If you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
What idiots like that don't understand is how important the chat system is when it comes to MMOs like this. This is not an MMO. This is an MMO RPG, and it's got to get that RPG aspect right, especially because it was built around that aspect. Like I said before, that was what they were advertising a lot in their trailers. So this is really important, even though it just needs these 3 simple changes to fucking fix the game. When it comes to the community aspect of it, it really is that important. And as the recording of this video, the player count has dropped a lot.
Hold up, wait a minute.
And people are now saying the same things that I was saying. So I'm not just making this bullshit up and acting as if it's important, because it is important. People know that this is important because they have basic common sense. Listen, if you guys really want to save this game, it's actually extremely easy. It's probably the most easiest fucking thing in the world. All you have to do is go to the Star Resonance Discord. You type in /feedback and you suggest these few simple things. Number 1, make the chat bubbles more visible. Number 2, make them last long enough to read. Number 3, make it so that the current chat is the default chat, and that is all you have to do. It is not complex. It is not an essay. It's not even a fucking paragraph. That is quite literally all they have to do. And sure, you can, you know, give your explanations as for why each of these matter, but at the end of the day, if everyone is suggesting this, there's no way they're not going to do it, because it's clear that people do want this if they are suggesting it, and there's nothing really for them to stand their ground on. It's just something that makes sense to do, right? But yeah, there's no way this game is going to die because of these few simple issues that can easily be resolved. I want to know that there are friends that I can come back to and connections that I can come back to that can encourage me to keep going and to keep playing, you know, like some power of friendship sort of shit, right? I think a lot of you guys want that too. So, you know, let's just make sure to get this out there, okay? Because this is really a very simple thing that can easily be fixed. I hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you want more Star Resonance content, assuming this game is even going to be alive by then yeah, sure, you can like the video and I'll do some more. I probably will be doing a review on it anyways, so you can look forward to that. But this is the first thing I want to get out there because it's that important and it's that huge of an issue to fix, but thankfully an easy one. So other than that, you guys take care and stay safe and have the wonderful rest of your day.